Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on today's tutorial on how I make these beautiful pure Welsh war hearts. So these hearts are lightly padded and they have a beautiful rustic look and feel to them, and they look lovely hung up all year round. But of course, with Valentine's coming up, they also make a lovely Valentine's gift. Okay, so for today's project we are going to need some red wool. And today, for today's project, I'm going to be using this lovely pure Welsh wool. So this is from a local company near me in North Wales, and I've used their wool before, and it's really, really nice. It's really rustic and perfect for little projects like this, I find. So that's what I've chosen to use for my hearts. Of course, you can use any yarn that you have to hand, is absolutely fine. Just obviously adjust your crochet hook according to the yarn that you choose to use. So today I'm going to be using my 3.5mm crochet hook, and we will also need a little bit of stuffing, and this is far too much. We'll only need a little handful like this. However, if you don't have toy stuffing to hand, you can, if you have an old cushion or pillow, you could just open that up and take a little bit of stuffing from there. That would work perfectly as well. We will also need some buttons, of course. So I have jars of buttons that I have collected over years. This is just one of them here. And you don't have to add buttons on. You can just leave your crochet heart plain like this one. It looks just as beautiful plain. It is just because I have a habit of collecting buttons wherever I go, and I end up with jars of them, and I just find this is a really, really cute project just to use some of those buttons on. So again, the buttons are optional, you don't have to use them. And we'll also need a pair of sharp scissors and our darning needle for sewing in the ends. And if you do decide to add on some buttons, you'll of course need some cotton thread and a sewing needle. Okay, so taking our yarn now, we're going to begin with a slip knot. So just do a slip knot and pop that onto your crochet hook. And the first thing we're going to do now is to chain 2. So 1 and 2. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to place 3 single crochet. So this is in US terminology. So if you're using UK terminology, this will be your double crochet. So go ahead now and place 3 single crochet into the second chain from your hook. 2 and 3. Okay, and now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work over. In the first stitch here, we're going to place 2 single crochet. So this is an increase, 1 and 2. In the next stitch along here, we're going to place 1 single crochet. And in the next stitch, very last stitch, is an increase, and we're going to place 2 single crochet into this stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we now have a stitch count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the first stitch, we're going to do another increase. So we're going to place 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. In the next stitch, 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, in the very last stitch here now, 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. And chain 1 and turn your work over. Okay, so you now have something that looks very similar to this, and we now have a stitch count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so this is another increase round now. So we're going to place 2 single crochet into that very first stitch. So 1 and 2. In the next stitch along, 1 single crochet. And the next stitch, 1 single crochet. And the next stitch, 1 single crochet. And again, next stitch, 1 single crochet. and the next stitch 1 single crochet. In the very last stitch now, we're going to do an increase and place 2 single crochet in the very last stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, so you now have something that looks like this. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work over. Okay, now this round is slightly different. For this round, we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch along. So we have a stitch count of 9. So we're going to keep our stitch count of 9 on this round and just place 1 single crochet in each stitch. So let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the last one 9. Okay, so we just did 1 single crochet in each stitch along. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work over. Okay, so now we're back to an increase round. So we're going to place 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch along until we reach the very last stitch. So 1, and place another single crochet in that very first stitch. Okay, now continue to work 1 single crochet in each stitch along until we reach the last stitch. Okay, when you get to the last stitch, just stop here now, and in this very last stitch here we're going to place 2 single crochet. So 1 and 2, and we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we now have a stitch count of 11, and this round is not an increase round, so we're going to do 1 single crochet each stitch along, keeping our stitch counts of 11. So go ahead and place 1 single crochet in each stitch along now. So 1, 2, let's get some more yarn, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, let's do that one again, 10, and the very last one, 11. Okay, so we now have the base of our heart developing here. So now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. This round is another increase round, so we're going to place 2 single crochet into the very first stitch, so 1 and 2. Now we're going to continue working along each stitch, placing 1 single crochet in each stitch along until we reach the very last stitch. So continue working now. Okay, and when we get to the last stitch, this is going to be another increase, so we're going to place 2 single crochet into this very last stitch here. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work over. Okay, so we now have a stitch count of 13 stitches, so you can always just go along and double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, this is our last increase round now. So we're going to place 2 single crochet into that very first stitch, 1, and again into that first stitch, 2. Okay, now we're going to carry on crocheting 1 single crochet into each stitch along until we reach the very last stitch. when we get to the very last stitch here, this is our increase, and we're going to place 2 single crochet into the very last stitch. 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we now have the base of our heart here. So we've worked this part here. Okay, and now we're going to move on and work the lobes of our heart. Okay, so to make the lobe now, we're going to single crochet along the next 7 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and last one 7. Okay, now in the next stitch we're going to place a slip stitch. So go ahead and just pop a slip stitch into the next stitch. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we're going to ignore the slip stitch space, and so we now have 7 stitches. So you can go back and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now in the last 2 stitches here, we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to do a single crochet decrease. So we're going to pop the hook through the stitch, pull the yarn through, stop here. So we have 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to pop the hook in through the next stitch, pull the yarn through. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that is our single crochet decrease. So now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're now going to do another single crochet decrease. So hook through, pull the yarn through, stop. Hook through the next stitch, pull the yarn through. 3 loops on your hook now, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, now we're going to continue doing a single crochet in the next stitch and single crochet into the next stitch. And we have 2 stitches left, and we're going to do another single crochet decrease. So go ahead and do another single crochet decrease, chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to do a single crochet decrease again, followed by another single crochet decrease. And that is the top of our lobe complete. Okay, so all that's left for us to do now is to cut our yarn and make the other lobe. Now take our scissors and just cut our yarn and yarn over and pull through to finish. Okay, so you now have something that looks very similar to this. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and make the second lobe. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our yarn and we are going to place a slip stitch into the same space that we did our previous slip stitch into. If you find this difficult to see and you're new to crochet, you can always count back 7 stitches from this end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in the next space, so that will be here, is where we are going to join our yarn. So go ahead now and join your yarn into that slip stitch space that we previously used, or if you find that difficult to see, then do just count back 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go into the next space and join your yarn. And I'm just going to chain 1 to secure. Okay, so now you have your yarn attached, we're going to single crochet into the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, one's getting stuck, doesn't want to go, 5, 6, and the last one is 7. Okay, so now chain 1 and turn our work over. So now we're going to start with a decrease. So you're going to use your single crochet decrease. So hook through, pull the yarn through, hook through the next stitch, pull the yarn through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to single crochet along to the end of the row. Okay, and now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do a single crochet decrease into the next 2 stitches. So hook through, pull the yarn through, hook through, pull the yarn through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Now we're going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches along. So 1 and 2, and now we have 2 stitches left here, and we're going to do another decrease. So another single crochet decrease and chain 1 and turn our work. Okay, we are now going to do another single crochet decrease followed by another single crochet decrease, and that is the second lobe of our heart complete. So all that's left for us to do now is to cut our yarn. So you can go ahead now, cut your yarn, yarn over and pull through. There we go, and there is your lovely heart. So all that's left for us to do now is to obviously weave in our ends. Okay, so once you've woven in your ends, you will then need to go ahead and crochet a second heart in exactly the same way, as you will need a front and a back. And once you've done that, join me back here and then we will begin to sew them together and add our stuff in. Okay, so you now have 2 hearts, and so we're going to have a front and a back, and I'll now show you how I like to join them. Of course, if you have a preferred method of joining your hearts, that's absolutely fine, then go ahead and join as you wish. I'll just show you how I like to do mine. So I'm going to take a length of the wool, the same wool that I used to make the hearts, and I don't want a huge length because I don't want it getting knotted and tangled. We can always join more wool, you know, if we run out, that's fine. I find that's easier than getting into a tangle and knotting the wool. So go ahead and thread your darning needle now with your wool, and then just cut your desired length. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, taking the 2 hearts, so just for ease of this video, I'm going to call this one the back heart and the front heart because this one's just facing me, and it will just help show a little bit clearer on how I'm sewing this up, I think. So my back heart here, I'm going to thread my needle through the point of that heart with the needle facing away from me. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull this through until I have a little tail here, and then I'm going to stop, and this tail here will just catch in our work. You don't need to knot it. If you prefer to do that, that is absolutely fine, of course. Okay, so now we're going to take our needle and come through the front of our heart at the base, but this time with the needle facing us. Okay, and pull through. Okay, so for the back one here, we put the needle through this way away from us, and then when we're working the next stitch, we put the needle facing us, coming through the front heart. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. As I said, if you have a preferred method of sewing up, then by all means you can do that. This is just how I like to do mine. There's no right or wrong way. So I'm going to go through the back of the heart facing away from me. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up the next stitch on the front of the heart with the needle facing me. Okay, also depending on the type of wool you've used and your tension, you can always just pick up the back loop of the work of that stitch when you're going through. However, sometimes I find doing that with crochet, because it's already quite a gappy material, it can leave holes, little holes, which I don't like. So I actually just prefer to go through both. Okay, but again, it is entirely up to you. If you just prefer to go through a back loop only rather than the whole stitch, then by all means, of course, do that. That's absolutely fine. And then we're just going to now continue working our way around until we get to the center point here, and then we're going to stop there because we need to add in the hanger. So continue now stitching all the way around and meet me when you get to the middle of your heart at the top. Okay, so I've just come up to the center point now of the heart. So I'm just going to stop here and I'm going to prepare my little hanger. Now I'm going to use twine for this. However, again, if you don't have twine, you can just use your wool. That's absolutely fine. So whether you're using the twine or wool, what I'm going to do is cut at a length. This is approximately around 10 inches. And I'm just going to fold it in half. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie a knot in the bottom, and I'm just going to go through twice just to make sure that that knot is nice and secure. Now we've got quite a nice big knot on the end. Okay, so like this. And then what we're going to do is place that now. I'm going to lay that in the center of our heart. So just place that in the center, and that will just hold in now whilst we're sewing. Okay, so I'll just hold in place. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go around this twine or wool hanger. So we're just going to go in through, all the way through this time, just to secure. So I'm just going to do a couple of stitches now around the hanger before moving on and doing the other lobe here. So just pop a few stitches in around the hanger just to secure before going any further. Okay, so you can see that that's nice and secure in there now. That's not going anywhere, and our stitching is nice and neat around here, and there's no holes. So we are now ready. We can continue stitching around this part of the lobe here. And when we get to about here, we're going to stop, and then we're going to start adding some of our stuffing in. So continue in exactly the same way as you were before. So I'm going to continue going through the front towards me, and then out through the back now. So exactly the same as I was doing previously, and just carry on working your way around to around here, and then meet me here, and then we'll start adding the stuff in. Okay, so I've reached this point here now, and what I'm going to do now is to get some of my stuff in and start adding that in now over to this side particularly. So I like to grab a handful of stuff in, and then I just like to fluff it up. There we go. And then I'm just going to pop it in. As I said, I'm going to start adding on this lobe first. So just gently pop it in, and I like my hearts to be lightly padded, so I don't like to overfill them. However, you do you, and you add as much or as little stuffing as you like into your heart. It's entirely up to you. It is just personal preference. I just like them lightly padded. Just going to add that in. And then just give it a little wriggle, squish it all around. Add a little bit more up there. Okay, and once you're happy with that, we can now begin sewing the sides. and we can of course add a little bit more stuff in later on, so if you're not too sure, then don't worry, you can always stop about this point and then just add a little more stuff in. So I think for me, I'm going to stop there, and I'm now going to continue sewing up this side seam. Okay, so now we have a beautiful padded heart. It's time to add our buttons. So I'm just going to have a quick look through some of these and decide which ones I'm going to pop on. That's quite a pretty one. This is a square one. There's a little shank on the back. Don't know if that will work. Maybe not. It's very pretty. I'll use it for something else. Let's have a look. Let's dive through, see what we've got. So as I say, you don't have to add any buttons on at all if you don't want to. A nice little orangey one. That's a nice green. Quite like that one. Quite like the green. What else do I have? Let's have a look. Got a very tiny blue one. I think that one might be. It's quite sweet, but they're quite similar in size. So I'm going to find a different size one. In fact, I'm going to change the orange for the blue. I like the green and the blue. Let me have a look what else I have here. I quite fancy a yellow, I think would look nice with the green and the blue. Let me see if I've got a yellowy one. This one, like a neutral. Possibly that one. Have I got another little yellow one? Let's have a look. This is why I like to collect buttons wherever I go. So if I'm popping into a charity shop, I'll have a look and see if they have any odd buttons or little button tins, because they're just so handy. Oh, look at this little one. There's a little heart there. That's cute. Yeah, so I just like collecting them. And then, oh, there's a little yellow one. I like that one. I think I'll add that one on. And you never know what's in there, and you can just have a really good rummage. And yeah, it's just really, really nice just looking through a button tin. So you just play around with the arrangement, just see. You can add as many buttons as you like to. I just like to work in odd numbers. I think odds look really nice, so I'm going to go for a 3 on here. I think I'm happy with that now. And so I'm going to use my red thread, and then I'm just going to go ahead now and sew the buttons on. So yep, have a play around, find the placement of your buttons, and once you're happy, then just take your thread, go ahead and sew them on. And there we have our beautiful padded hanging hearts. So now all that's left for us to decide is where we're going to hang it, or who we're going to gift it to. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Do hit the like and do subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell, and you'll be alerted every time I upload a new tutorial. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed making your beautiful padded hearts, and I shall see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.